I'm Steve Adubato. This is the Tisch WNET studio here in the heart of New York City, Lincoln Center. We are pleased to welcome for the first time with us, it will not be the last, a guy I've watched for a long time. He knows sports, and he knows a lot more than that. He's Adam Schefter, NFL Insider, ESPN, author of a compelling book called The Man I Never Met, a memoir. Good to see you, Adam.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate having me.
Thank you for all the work you do, not just for those of us who are sports fans, but appreciate a powerful story. This book, the special that you did, that I happened to see, I tell you, I watched it with my wife and our family. It's powerful. The premise.
Well, basically, on the 15th anniversary of 9/11, we did a video tribute on ESPN, which was on the opening day of the 2016 NFL season. That was a tribute to my wife's late husband, Joe Mayo. And it was our way of honoring him and paying tribute to my wife, basically giving people an idea of who Joe Mayo was. And look, we are here in New York. We all know what happened on 9/11, and there were thousands of people who were negatively impacted by that day and will always be, and it's a day that they will never, ever forget. This was a way, I think, to basically tell Joe's story. And like I said, there are a lot of stories that day.
Sure.
Joe's is not any more special or different or unique than anybody else's. There are a ton of sad stories, but Joe was a great man. He was a golden boy. And his life was snuffed out at the age of 32. And he and my wife moved to a new house in New York, moved in August of 2001. And a month later, he's gone and she's left behind with herself, their 15-month-old son, Devin, and their new home.
And you don't meet Sherry till a couple years later?
6 years later.
6 years later. Describe, I saw her in the film, but when you met her, what attracted you to her?
Well, I think one of the things that drew me to her was her strength and her independence and everything that she had been through, all the adversity she had been through. And to me, I had dated often, and I had been looking for that right person. And you always think that it's going to be the perfect person. And then you meet this person, and it's not perfect, but it's perfect for you. And that's sort of one of the premises of the book as well, because it tells a story all about Joe. And it brings him back to life as best as we can. And it tells the story of Sherry's toughness, but also some of the personal travails that I went through trying to meet a woman like Sherry. And when I first met her, guys are physical creatures. I was instantly drawn to her and basically had great admiration for everything that she had been through and everything that she had done in her life.
But you know, the other thing when I saw the film that really struck me is that Joe's presence is everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere in your home together, in your life together. There's no part of you, at least my interpretation, that in any way was looking to, tries to minimize Joe's powerful presence in Sherry's life and in his son's life. And that's your boy.
No, I think a lot of people are on second marriages and
join the club,
strained relationships.
That's
and
me.
It's hard to get everybody together and peaceful existences. And with me, I've welcomed Joe. Like, what am I going to do? Like, this man was there.
Why you, though? I'm sorry for interrupting, man. Why you? By the way, also you have a daughter. I want to be clear. How's your daughter?
Daughter's 10 years old.
Why did you feel that you had this responsibility?
Well, it's not that it's basically what I think anybody would have felt stepping into that situation.
No, I'm not sure, but go ahead.
Really?
Yeah, because as I was watching it, there was a part of me that was asking what, and I remember texting our executive producer, Jen Eichel, and I said, you got to get him, because I want to understand what is it about Adam that he said, I need to do this? Was he doing it for Sherry? Was he doing it for their son? Was he doing it for himself? All of it? It's powerful
all
to me.
All of those things. I think, again...
If you hadn't done it, let's agree, it wouldn't have happened. That story would not have been told.
Oh.
Joe's story.
No, and I was honored to be able to tell the story of Joe Mayo and the life that he led and the life that was snuffed out. And again, I think what happened was Sherry, my wife, is a very private person. And I would say 4 or 5 years into our marriage, she said, your life is very public. Everything you do is public. Your job is done in public. Why don't you ever talk about the fact that you are married to a 9/11 widow or talk about you? And I said, I didn't know that you wanted me to.
She brought that up.
She said it to me at one point. I said, well, if you want me to, I'd be honored to. And so I went to ESPN. It had to be maybe a few years into our marriage, Steve, as I think about it, because I pitched to them an idea, hey, could we do a feature on my wife's late husband for the 10th anniversary
Right.
of 9/11. And they said no.
That's how it winds up 15?
And then 5 years later, I said, hey, you guys want to do a story on Joe Mayo? And initially they said no. And then there's a great producer, a great storyteller at ESPN named Greg Jewell, and he called me up. He said, I think we can do that story on Joe. And I said, great. And I really, once I heard that, I didn't even know what I was going to do with it. And I remember I was flying home one time, and I was writing out a story and writing out a bunch of lines that I wanted to include in there and things I wanted to say about Joe and the type of man that he was and the man that I never met, and wrote it up, shot the piece over the summer. It ran, and when it ran on ESPN,
Reaction?
was unbelievable. Like, unlike anything I've ever gotten in 28 years in the business. Like, I've worked on a lot of stories over time.
Yeah.
Nothing was like that. The story ran on ESPN Sunday NFL Countdown, and when I got back to my desk, my phone had 50 text messages, emails pouring in, people I didn't know from corners of the world that I didn't know, the White House, Hollywood,
Right.
sports, other sports. People like, I didn't know that. What a man Joe was. Your wife.
Sorry for interrupting. Did that drive the book?
Yeah,
I'm going to write this book.
And again, and then there were people who said to me, well, you should turn it into a book. Oh, I don't know if there's a book there. And they said, no, there's a book there. Okay, well, if you want to make it a book, let me know. And then I had a marketing guy who met with a couple of publishing houses, and St. Martin's Press was kind enough to.
But you've written many books.
Yeah, this is my 5th book. But this is a very different book than any.
Shari's reaction?
Well, initially, you know, Shari does things on her schedule when she's ready. And so it wasn't like I'm writing the book and I finish chapter 1 and I say to her, honey, you want to read chapter 1? Because that really wouldn't work, and that's not who and what she is. So she knew I was working on it, and she was good with me working on it, but she wasn't reading any of it. And all of a sudden, one day in August, last summer, about a month before the book is coming out, she said, she picks up the book, the galleys of it, and says, oh yeah, she starts reading. And I was honestly surprised because I didn't know if she would read it,
right,
or when she would read it and what her reaction to reading it would be. And when she finished the book, basically, I remember her coming upstairs and she was crying. And she was crying at all that she had lost, all that Devin, our son, had lost, all that Joe had lost, the way that their life had changed. And I was truly sorry to see her crying, but I also knew that the message then had worked, and it was what we wanted to achieve.
And by the way, Joe's parents are included in the book as well.
Yeah, they're great people. And
how's Devin doing? I'm sorry, I'll come back and forth.
Yeah. Well, Devin is a freshman at the University of Michigan.
Wow.
And he's adapting to college life like any other freshman would. It's a tough transition. As a former Michigander myself, somebody who went to that school, I know how tough that could be.
This is right after the Ohio State. I'm sorry that we're taping right after.
That's okay.
Is it okay with that?
Oh, yeah. Steve, hey, listen, I want Michigan to win all the time, but if they don't, I'm not one of these people who is distraught for weeks and months.
Listen, stop. I'm a Rutgers guy. We never win. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. So he's a freshman there.
He's a freshman there, and he's, again, enjoying life at school in Ann Arbor, and I think it's a great place to be. It's a great school. It's what school should be about. And Joe's parents, George and Paula, they live in New Jersey, and we see them when we can, and they'd like to see Devin more. We all would like to see Devin more, but Devin's busy at college right now being a freshman.
And your daughter?
She's 10 years old. She's in 4th grade.
First of all, thank you for the book. Thank you for the story. Thank you for reminding us that so many lives, not just were lost, but families impacted. And
well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
that is one of the ideas of the book, really, is to take people back to that day. And people our age know what it was like. But there are people now who are 20 years old who don't remember or wouldn't know what that day was like and how memorable and impactful it would be, and how many lives were ruined and how many families were ruined that day. And so we tried to recreate some of that in this book, and I hope that we succeeded in that regard.
Adam, thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate having me today.
We appreciate having you. Stay right there.
Thank you.
The Man I Never Met. It's a memoir by Adam Schefter. Well done. We'll be right back right after this.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by United Airlines, New Jersey Sharing Network, Seton Hall University, Hackensack Meridian Health, MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, NJM Insurance Group, and by Choose New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.